So this course, Fire Safety and Design, is all about a real technical focus on how buildings should be designed, if you change a building, what you need to do. There's lots of little nuances that people don't know in the wider industry. So I seen it, I sat it, and then I thought it would be great to offer to our staff. Then Alan discussed with us, because we've got a lot of clients who are really buying into this leadership piece on the Building Safety Act, and we said, why don't we offer it to clients?
There's been a real commitment to take 3 days out the diary for our clients, which is a combination of developers, private sector developers, design managers, tier 1 contractors, and designers. So for us, it was just part of our Building Safety Act journey, which we've been on for the last couple of years. We've been at the forefront of sort of leading on the change that's coming, that's happening. And I think for us, it's a really positive that in the room next to us, there's 16 fairly decent guys from the industry who've made the commitment to come on the journey with us.
I'm here today because we're seeing a shift in the industry where fire safety is really driving at the front end and the back end of developments now, from the inception stage through design, construction, but operation as well. And we're seeing with our clients the importance of tying all that together throughout the development cycle to remove any surprises, but ultimately make sure that they can occupy their buildings at completion safely and successfully. I think the key takeaway for me is having the confidence in what's quite a technical area in everything we do within the development world, and having the confidence to be able to push it to the forefront of our developments, understand and be able to interpret what the professional team are developing in terms of the design and proposals, and having the confidence to be able to steer the development in the right direction at each stage. And I think this course will give us a great grounding to be able to do that.
We got legislation moving all the time, so it's good to understand what legislations that are in place right now, what they mean, what's going to happen when they change, questioning what we've done in the past and whether we're actually ahead of the curve, or whether we're in line with what's going on, or if we're lagging, then I know what to do to pull that forward. But also to get our consultants and my design managers who are on site to be fully abreast of where the risks are to us as a business, the risks to the developers who we build for, and of course to our consultants whose design we implement to build.
I think there's a lot of conjecture in fire and fire safety in the industry at the moment, but more pertinently, there's, take today 16 people who've taken 3 days out of their busy calendars to refine and enhance their competencies and understand the fundamental input from the Fire Protection Association and Project 4 as a key consultant of ours, but likewise and start building up our competency and our abilities to understand it, and hopefully make sure that we are compliant and exceeding compliance where possible.
I think most of the industry is still learning about it fresh, so they've not even taken the time to understand it, digest it, and think how it impacts their business. But I think that's where we've been supporting a lot of companies with understanding what it will mean for them, how they operate, what it will mean on a day-to-day basis, and provisionally at least some of the systems and culture they'll have to put in place. So a lot of what we've been doing with the major developers, contractors and architects practices is helping them get into a sort of ready to start position. And I think the troubling aspect is that we only have at the moment until October, and so there's not a lot of time actually for companies to think, oh well, we'll adjust to when it comes around, because it'll basically mean you can't operate as a business unless you have certain things in place. So there's not the transition period is now. The transition period isn't from October to another time in the future. So I think that's the worrying part for the industry right now.
I think a starting block would be to look at your business, look at who's in your team, if you're capable of delivering certain jobs, and if you're not, look at those gaps and start to upscale. Today's course is all about that, really.
I think there's work to be done. I think there's parts of the industry are still in denial. I think there's parts of the industry that just don't understand it and are sort of burying their head in the sand like we did with CDM as an industry. So I think that, you know, anyone who is, you know, remotely connected to construction, particularly during that pre-construction stages, core design teams, architects, structural M&E, clients, principal designers, CDM advisors, they need to make a start, because there's a lot to be done, and that is difficult. You know, when you've got the day-to-day of running a business, it's you know, it's something else that you need to add in. But I do believe, and you know, if we don't get a grip of this, it's going to cause resource issues at every stage of construction, and there will be delays introduced to that process if we don't get a grip of it now. So make a start.